How would you survive the zombie apocalypse? What would your plan be?
Oh yeah, so that's a really interesting question because I feel like I've actually thought about this a lot. So it has something like it's the same thing as if you are paralyzed from the neck down. What would you do? Do you want to keep living or do you want to die? Because it's the
Mm-hmm.
same situation basically. In a zombie apocalypse, you're basically fighting to survive the next minute,
Mm-hmm.
and every things could go bad at any minute. And then for a person with like, if I get into a car accident, I'm like paralyzed from the neck down. I can't do anything. And the same thing with in a zombie apocalypse. It's not living; it's literally surviving. So like, it could be different from everybody else's answer, but mine would be just to get turned into a zombie the first minute the outbreaks. Hi, my name is Frank, and this is my golden hour.
All right, so welcome back to another episode of GDP, the director's cut. Who do we have joining us today?
So my name is Frank, and I'm a cinematographer that goes to Boston College.
And what is your role in the film?
I do a lot of most sets I do first ACE, so that's basically sometimes pulling focus and sometimes adjusting the camera when the other Frank is not here. And I also sometimes I do lighting and audio. So I work with Sean, who you'll see later in the clip that I usually just boom and operate the boom mic, and then he will operate the Zoom recording to check the levels and stuff. Yeah.
And how did you first get into film work and stuff like that?
So I think I was watching a lot of YouTube, like any teenage kid. So I was constantly on YouTube, like I don't know, 4 or 5 hours a day to just watching different stuff. And then I was coming across this guy called Peter McKinnon. So if anybody has anything to do with video, you'll know him. And then he makes video like, I guess, like movie quality videos, and then he produced them on YouTube. And I was like, no way that anybody can record videos at this high level like on YouTube, because normally you think of YouTubers, you think of low quality vlogs that are just like bamming with different, I don't know, like effects or transitions and stuff that aren't really like pleasing to the eye after a couple videos. So after I watched him, I was like, man, I really gotta get on this. So when I graduated high school, I asked my parents to buy a camera for me, and then so that's how it got started, basically. Yeah.
And so do you study film at BC now?
No, I have no classes that have anything to do with film.
No. What do you study at BC?
I study econ and psychology.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so very traditional majors, but doing very conventional, basically out of school work and stuff. Yeah.
Do you think your econ and psychology degrees help you in your filmmaking at all?
No, I don't think so.
No?
Yeah. I think my sort of expectation for college education has drastically decreased. Obviously, like coming out of high school as a very good student, I was top of the class, I have like great GPA and stuff. And then coming to college, I was excited. I was excited to learn like what it could be like for a college student to learn different materials and stuff. But once I got into college, I feel like the stuff you learn in school doesn't necessarily translate into the work field or anything. They sort of just prove to companies that you're capable of earning a degree and you're capable of doing the coursework and being responsible as a student, and that's basically it for most majors. But although I believe some majors are actually helping them into the workforce, like our school has a business school, and they actually teach kids how to use like Excel, which is really important if you're doing anything that has anything to do with numbers. Or they teach you about how to write a resume correctly, and then when and where to apply for internships and jobs. And those were, I think, critical for young adults when they are stepping into society. Also, like taxes, no one ever teaches you taxes. You have to figure it out on your own. So I feel like for me, it's always like I need to focus on my major so that I can get a job in the future. But I don't want to keep doing econ psychology jobs. I want to do film. But for me, I'm an international student, so for me to get a job that's related to media is nearly impossible in the eyes of the U.S. government. So this is what econ psychology is my stepping stone for for employment, basically. Yeah.
So once you graduate from BC with your econ and psychology degree, do you want to pursue something that can eventually turn into a film
Yeah.
career?
So my highest hope would be to be hired as a. So I have to basically kind of explain the immigration process for those of you that don't know. So for any international student, no matter which country you come from, so when you're entering the U.S., you are on a student visa. So that means you cannot work off campus or anything to make money. So you can only work on campus. And if you want to, after you graduate, if you want to get a job, you have to get a job that's directly related to your major. And so after you get a job, the company that hires you has to file for an application for a work visa, and that gets sent to the U.S. Immigration and Customs or whatever, and then they process it by randomly selecting students that have applications. So for undergrads, when you graduate, the chances are 3 out of 10. So every 10 students, only 3 get selected.
So 70% of international students end up going home to work?
Exactly, yeah.
Wow.
So
the alternative, I guess, is going to like grad school or something like that.
Yeah, going to grad school makes you more, I guess, favorable in the work field. So when you have a master's degree compared to an undergrad degree, or bachelor's degree, employers will obviously choose the one with master's degree. And that's what gives, I guess, international students an edge when it comes to employment. But yeah, it's pretty tough.
So do all international students have to go through that process once they graduate? They need to go through this work visa application process in addition to finding a job?
Yeah, so if you want to find any sort of employment that pays, that's the process you have to go through.
Wow. Yeah. So if you graduated and you wanted to find a job in film that was unrelated to your degree, would a work visa sponsor you?
It would not be sponsored.
It would not be sponsored.
Yeah. So it has to film. So once you get a work visa, then you can consider changing a job. That's possible.
Right. I see. So you have to get the first one, and
first job has to be
that opens doors for you. I see.
Yeah.
Huh. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
I
So
never knew that. Did
compared
you know that?
to I guess any American students, employment gets a lot tougher for us.
Yeah, I'm sure. And then I guess the alternative would be just to file for citizenship, right? Which of course is a very loaded process.
Yeah, so it also depends on which country you come from. Say you come from like Denmark or any like very developed like European countries, and then you want to apply for like those people, they don't have immigration. Those people there don't want to immigrate to America, right? Mm-hmm. So most people that immigrate to America come from countries that are, I don't know, to them worse than the United States. That's why they would do immigration in the first place, right? And then so those countries usually have a horrible waiting time. So the worst I think right now is India, with 20 plus years of waiting once you apply. So yeah, that's the process.
And you're from China, right?
Yeah.
What's your country's waiting time like?
My waiting is like 10-15 years.
Wow, that's still a really long time.
So you have to stay on work visa for a decade or two before you become like a citizen or green card holder.
It's so crazy.
Yeah. So right now you are then working on film as much as you can to try to get your money's worth while you're here. Yeah. So what kind of projects have you been working on in your years since you started film?
So I've only so I started with photos because photos are a lot easier than videos to a lot of people. And because it's basically just a still and then you can't really mess up photos. But for videos, I started actually in freshman year of college. So, and then so after I started doing video, there was like a 6 months to a year before I actually got to do any projects. So first was just doing vlogs on YouTube because that's the only way that I can make videos that are fun to me. And then after that, I started getting different projects. At first, it was a lot of dance videos, and then I did a lot of videos at BU with different dance teams and stuff. After that, it was a period of like music videos, which if you're in the field, you will know that's like a introductory. Like when you're a beginner, videographer, you do a lot of music video because the clients they're not usually very professional, so that's how you get started basically. After that, right now I've been doing a lot of commercial product videography, and then that's like what I think I want to be doing after I graduate. So it's a lot of fun. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then how did you become?
Sorry to interrupt. You guys are killing it. Riley, nice to see you. Hey. Yeah, everyone smile. Let's go.
And then how did you get involved with this project?
So I've known the other Frank for ever since I came to college.
Mm-hmm.
So we're pretty good friends, and we both are on the same track to do like professional video in the future. And then so Frank knows Conor through, I guess, I don't know, they haven't told me the story.
I think they met through Instagram DMs. That's what Frank was telling me last time I talked to him.
Yeah, so that, and then Frank and I know each other, but we don't really collaborate on projects. It's always our own thing. And then I think it's better. You don't really need, for smaller projects, you don't need 2 videographers on the set to do anything. So for this one, Frank said that Conor has a really big film that he wanted to do. And then obviously, like, we're really close and we work together really well. And then he said that Conor should bring me on set, and then that's how I kind of got to the set.
Yeah. So, and what is your experience on set been like so far?
It's a learning curve. I feel like, so Frank and I did another video that has like a lot of moving parts. So we usually just do individual videos where it's always a client or 2, and then we just film it ourselves. So we have to do the framing, the camera work, and then the editing and the lighting, the audio, like all by ourselves. And then so this project, and we did a project prior to this where that's not possible. Like we used to use mirrorless and DSLRs that have autofocus, so you don't have to do anything. You just have to basically control the exposure and the framing. But now that we both got into cinema cameras, they don't have autofocus, so a one-man job basically becomes impossible at this point. So he on that shoot, he needed me to basically film behind the scenes footage, and then we have to have a guy that controls the lighting, because otherwise every scene basically takes way too long in between.
Because the focus is all messed up?
The focus and the lighting. So the lighting, we have these light tubes that we have to set up before we hit the record button, and those take forever to set up. And then a person's job is like impossible to cover all of that.
Yeah.
So we needed different people to be specialized in different stuff. So we have Sean on the audio, we have lighting guy, we have someone just does errands, and then we have people that contact the actors and stuff. So every person has a very specific job that's very little, but you do it well. So that's how a set works, basically. Yeah.
And do you think that's been challenging for you guys, or has it worked pretty well so far?
Not really. I don't think it was hard. It was just different.
Yeah.
We never had anything this big before, so it's actually a lot of fun. Yeah.
How is this compared to other projects you've worked on? Like, obviously this is a much bigger scale than other ones, but are there any similarities or differences that really stand out to you?
I guess the similarity would be what would be similar? So similarity would be something like the framing doesn't change, or how we operate the camera doesn't change, and that's all the job that we do basically on set. And then everything else is up to other people. So even though we coordinate each other on like what to do on at what time, but I think the only thing that holds constant is like literally just how we operate camera, and then everything else basically changes when you go from individual to a set. Yeah.
And then how do you like working on like a narrative structure film? Like, do you like it? Is that something you'd want to do in the future?
Yeah, so I think for narrative shots, especially like even Hollywood movies, directors and writers, they have challenges. So you don't see a director that's successful at every single movie, right? Because that's basically, in order to make a good movie, it's the hard work and then the great idea of a lot of different people. So the producer has to have a right idea. The director has to have a good visual input, or like how the film should go. The cinematographer has to be good at his job. And then if any of those people are bad, you don't make a good movie. So especially in Conor film, Frank and I are not editing, which is something new. That we used to always control the editing, and then when we shoot the video, we kind of know where to cut or where to do what effects. We had to have those thoughts like beforehand when we were shooting. So when it comes to editing, it's very smooth transition. But for this project, obviously we're not editing, so we don't know how it's gonna go after we finish production.
Is that different for you? Usually you guys sit down and do the editing afterwards?
Yeah, so when you're doing it by yourself, you feel you have like full control of the project.
Yeah.
Unless the client has very drastically different ideas than you, then whatever you decide how the project is gonna go is how the project is gonna go. But right now it's like whatever we wanted to do is probably gonna be different from what the editor thinks is good. Yeah.
Does that make you nervous at all?
A little bit. I feel like since everybody's putting so much effort into it, who knows? I've never met the editor, so I don't know.
Yeah. Have you read any of the script or know any of like the storyline at all?
I know the general storyline, but the script is like 170 pages.
Yeah,
I don't want to read
it's
all
pretty
of it.
long. Frank was telling me the other day that he read it, of course, when it was pitched
I think they
to
were
him.
working on it for a long time.
Yeah, and Frank actually told me he did not like the script when he first read it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I was curious to see if you had any opinions on the story or anything.
So if it was strictly up to me, I would, if I'm shooting indie film, I would do something that has nothing to do with VFX or special effects, because
Why is that?
that could be the tipping point for most films. Like when you see a good VFX, you're like, wow, that looks real. Mm-hmm. Or if you see a bad one, you're like, wow, this is like a good film, but the VFX is a nut job, and then kind of
it can really make or break a movie.
Yeah, yeah. So I would do something like maybe in the genre of like drama, or that has like really deep emotional storylines that are like this, where the story outweighs the visuals. I think that would be great. At least for me. Yeah.
And so the movie, of course, you know this, is about a zombie apocalypse. So our closing question for all of our guests is, if you were to undergo a zombie apocalypse in the city of Boston right now, or not right now, like just in the normal world, not coronavirus or anything, how would you survive the zombie apocalypse? What would your plan be?
Oh yeah, so that's a really interesting question, because I feel like I've actually thought about this a lot. So it has something like, it's the same thing as if you are paralyzed from the neck down. What would you do? Do you want to keep living, or do you want to die? Because it's the same situation basically. In a zombie apocalypse, you're basically fighting to survive the next minute, and things could go bad at any minute. And then for a person with like, if I get into a car accident, I'm like paralyzed from the neck down, I can't do anything. And the same thing with in a zombie apocalypse, it's not living, it's literally surviving. So like it could be different from everybody else's answer, but mine would be just to turn into a zombie the first minute the outbreaks begin.
So you would sacrifice yourself, so you wouldn't have to go through
so
all the anxiety.
I don't wanna, it's not a great living situation, so I don't really want to do it in the first place. Like, think about how, if it's as contagious as like any zombie movie, how many people do you think are gonna survive at the end, and then how tough their life is compared to mine when I'm just a brainless zombie at that point.
Yeah. Well, did you have a good time? Did you have a good interview?
Yeah, pretty good.
Yeah. So we have one more ending bit, and that is just the intro and the closer. So It's pretty simple. Stop me if Connor's explained this to you before.
Okay, she has.
So basically all you do is you say, hi, my name is, your name, and this is my golden hour. Okay. And then immediately after that, hi, my name is, your name, and that was my golden hour. Okay. Yeah, whenever you're ready.
Okay. Hi, my name is Frank, and this is my golden hour.
Perfect.
Do I have to say podcast after that?
No.
Okay, let me do it again. Hi, my name is Frank, and then this is my golden hour. And there's like Connor's whoa.
Yeah, exactly.
Next clip. And hi, my name is Frank, and this was my golden hour.
Perfect.
Okay,
You nailed it.
Great.
Thanks so
Thank
much,
you.
Frank.
Yeah.